arrives the final round of the WNBL season up in far north Queensland. The Cairns Pop-Up Arena is the venue. The Adelaide Lightning up against the Bendigo Spirit. Now the Lightning still a mathematical chance to make it through to the playoffs. Boy, do they need a lot to go their way. They need to start by snapping a 5-game losing streak tonight up against the Bendigo Spirit. And the narrative lives for the Spirit. They're 0-11. Are they going to win a game this year in the 41st edition of the WNBL? This looms as their best chance. They've got Melbourne in their final game of the regular season. Let's see if the Spirit can do it tonight. Corbin Middlemass and Pete Hawley on hand. The Adelaide Lightning warming up. There's a few little narratives to keep us through and keep us going as WNBL action continues just about every night this week as we head towards the end of the regular season.
There is, and we have a look at the starting lineup there, and Marina Whittle coming back in. But we know they're going to be led by Steph Talbot and Alex Wilson, but the Lightning just want to play some consistent basketball. They've been really struggling to put 40 minutes together, and they play some good, really good spurts, but they haven't got off to a good start either. And they're going to be looking to try and have a lot more consistent effort tonight. And down the other end, the Spirit, well, they deserve a win. So I think they're going to be coming out here knowing this is going to be their best chance, and they're going to have a really good crack at this.
Some new names there. Shavana Pelvast is among the starting unit, as is Cassidy McLean. Demi Skinner along with Lavey and Ernst, the two more experienced names for the Bendigo Spirit. They were pretty good last time out on Sunday up against the Sydney Uni Flames. They were in winning positions. We've seen them in a similar spot earlier in the year where I think a couple of Saturdays ago they led Townsville at half-time in one of our nationally televised games, and again here they were in a winning position against Sydney. Just couldn't close out. Can they get over the hump tonight?
Well, that's going to be the most frustrating thing for them, I think, is that they've been in these winnable situations. They just haven't got that one in the win column yet. So I think that they'll be looking forward to tonight knowing this is going to be a huge opportunity for us. And if they can build that lead, they've seen, I'm sure they looked at tape, that the Lightning can really struggle at certain aspects of the game. So if they do their scouting, then they've got a real good crack at winning this one.
Moments before tip-off, Luella Tomlinson, of course, the key shot blocker in the lineup for the Adelaide Lightning. The team started 4-1. They've since lost 5 games on the bounce. Luella, how can you turn it around tonight?
Yeah, we've just got to go into this game with a lot of confidence and hopefully get away with a win and get back in that winning circle. The crazy thing about this season is that we still have an opportunity to make finals, so that's 2020.
Definitely is, and it seems like the coach has been a bit disappointed with the offensive rebounds that you've been giving up. Is that going to be a key focus to clean up tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, you know, it's obviously not our strongest point in our game, and something that we need to keep working on. And we're a new team that's come together, so we're just still trying to find our way, still trying to find. You know, obviously they're trying to build for next year as well, and so yeah, that's definitely something that we need to continue to work on and get better at.
You mentioned it's 2020. It's been an unusual season, but it's particularly been an unusual season for the Adelaide Lightning, obviously given your quarantine experience after the Parafield cluster. Do you think that had an impact on the momentum, or I guess the run that the team had created in the early portion of the season through round 1?
Yeah, 100% it did. I mean, like, there was 4 of us who came from Melbourne. We quarantined in Adelaide for 2 weeks. We had 3.5 weeks of pre-season. And then we got here and it was like quarantine followed us. We ended up back in lockdown for another week. So, yeah, like, we obviously had a great pre-season, but we found some momentum, and we got our fitness back and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, the week off, even though we got to train a couple of those days towards the end of the week, it definitely killed our momentum, and you know, we're just going to get back into that winning circle tonight.
And you're a walking, running shot blocker. I think you're second only behind Liz Cambage in the competition in that category. Are you going to make inroads into making your way up the statistical category tonight?
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully I can get a couple more blocks for the team and get a little bit higher up that list. But yeah, no, like, I'm really enjoying playing for Adelaide, and hopefully we get the win tonight.
Good luck, all the best.
Okay, thank you.
Luella Tomlinson with us moments ago. There she is, ready to get us going. Out in the middle, the opening tip And it's Ernst who has first hands on the ball out towards Steph Talbot. Speaking of statistical categories, Pete Hawley, she's very high, Steph Talbot, in a lot of those.
Oh, she has, and I've called her last few games, and she's just doing what we know she can do and putting up a lot of points, getting a lot of rebounds, but she's going to need a lot of help, and she gets targeted a lot, so it's going to be interesting to see who goes to her from the Spirit. Starting five for the Spirit: McLean, Pelvast, Ernst, Skinner and Levy.
She took you through moments ago, so shot doesn't land, first time down the floor for Adelaide. And all of a sudden, Alex Wilson finds herself on the hardwood. Foul called early in the piece here. It's on the offense, so Carly Ernst is going to be called for it.
Alex Wilson's another one, and she had a couple of struggled games earlier in the week, but I know they lost by 21 to the Boomers, had 14 points, looked a lot more aggressive, a lot more comfortable with the ball in her hand. So look for her to try and keep that momentum rolling over into this game, because the Lightning know just how important it is, and they want to get back on that winner's circle as well.
Here's Steph Talbot, away to Whittle, as you mentioned, back among the starting unit. Out wide to Wilson. Wilson dumps it down low. Whittle pulls up on the J. That's nice. Gets the scoring started. Marina Whittle with the first points in the game. Get to put a shot up. Bendigo through Tessa Levy, their star opal, out wide to Ernst, and Ernst catches fire immediately. She bangs one down from long range. We know she's someone, Pete, that can catch fire when she gets going, Carly Ernst.
Well, she is, and this is something that hurt the Lightning the other night against the Boomers. To see we rung T1 up, and Kayla George hit a couple threes, and it really makes life a lot tougher when the bigs for the other team, she lets another one go, and there we go, right on cue.
That's a problem for Adelaide and Chris Lucas. Carly Ernst, back-to-back threes, 2 attempts, they both drop. Did the game involving Bendigo against the Boomers on Saturday, and she had about 8 or 9 looks, couldn't land one from long range. She shot 2 up here, and both of them are dropped. A couple of clean looks for Carly Ernst. Will she go again on the trail triple here down the floor? Instead, it's Levy who takes the shot. Nice little fadeaway from the free throw line. All of a sudden, it's Bendigo who lead at 8-2. 8 straight points for the Spirit. Talbot trying to go to work inside the lane. Out to Wilson. Wilson drives to the basket. Shot up. No good off the glass. Pelvast comes up with it for Bendigo. Here's Levy to Ernst. Hand in there from Whittle. Does well. Preempted the pass. Back down the other end of the floor. This is where Adelaide look at their best in transition. Wilson out to Whittle. Clean look. No good off the rim, and Ernst on the rebound.
Well, you're right. That's exactly where Adelaide like to play. Get a stop and run. They can all really push the floor, push the tempo, and when the ball gets in Alex Wilson or Steph Talbot's hands, they open up so much for shooters. Whittle there just got to knock that one down.
Oh, Ernst takes on Talbot. Should be called for the foul. Trying to stop the shot.
This is something I've admired about Steph Talbot's game. We know what she can do on the offensive end, but in the last few games, she's just put her hand up to go at the best players on the other team, and she's guarded a little bit out of position at sorts, and that's what you want your superstars to do. You want them to be able to lead on the offensive end, and then by defense, lead by example. And she's been really putting her hand up to try and go to that. But it's time now to really lock in, because Carly Ernst is on fire early.
More points for Ernst. Adds an extra 2 at the free throw line. That's 10 straight points for Bendigo in the game after Marina Whittle hit the first basket. So nearly 3 minutes in. Problems for Adelaide. In the grey singlets, in the blue, Bendigo. Here's Chelsea Brook. Down to Whittle. Whittle swings it over to the weak side. Talbot tries to make a way inside off the dribble. Back out to Whittle. Catch and shoot for 3. Can't connect. And Pelvast pulls down the rebound. Another stop defensively for Bendigo. Ernst had a look at it. Out to Levy, down to the corner. McLean back to Levy. Backs her way in. Nice shot. Turnaround Jay. Problems for Adelaide. Chris Lucas wants to chat. 3 minutes and 20 seconds played, and Bendigo with 12 straight points. Carly Ernst has 10 of them, Pete Hawley.
Well, she's got a couple wide open threes, and especially when you're giving her, let her get her eye in, it makes those kind of shots seem a lot easier for her. But this has been the Lightning's problem in the last 4 or 5 games. Their struggles have really come with not being able to get stops, and when they do get stops, they've been really susceptible to giving up O boards, which has hurt them, because they're not a half-court team. They don't play in the half-court. They don't run through offense too well. It's all about getting out and running. And I'm sure Chris Lucas is going to be saying they've got to clamp down on defense.
If you look at throwbacks, okay, switching the 2-man game, look to post up and duck in. Okay, Abby, go to the point for this one here. Okay, looking for Steph on the chest action. Al, you go on the catch here. Okay, if it's zoned, okay, just go to elbow. Have a look at that. All right, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Strike.
Slow start for Adelaide. They scored just 8 points a couple of times in opening quarters, once against Melbourne, once against Canberra. There's 2 points here, and Carly Ernst is a big problem. She's threatened really to have these games throughout the season so far.
Well, it has been the kind of problem, especially the last 2 games for the Lightning. The bigs for the opposition have got going from 3. Darcy Garvin, we know what happened with in that game. She ended up costing her pretty much on the buzzer. And Kayla George recently, and that's going to be a problem area where they've got to try and clean up. But it's when Steph Talbot, whoever's guarding Carly Ernst, if she has to show or help on a screen, who's going to help her out? And that's kind of been the Lightning's issue, is not moving together off the ball.
Analysis from Pete Hawley. Wednesday night hoops. The WNBL, the final round of the regular season, as Whittle spin move towards the basket, puts the shot up, misses everything. Carly Ernst again. Her hands on the basketball in this opening quarter, so 4 defensive rebounds for Ernst to go along with her 10 points at the other end. McLean in the corner, gets past Talbot, puts the shot up, doesn't drop. Wilson grabs the rebound, ends up on the hardwood, and the ball ends up over the baseline. Bendigo ball as well, so it remains trapped in the front court for the Spirit.
You saw that offensive possession, Chris Lucas said, a bit of elbows in the zone to try and get that attack, and Whittle going downhill, but defenses are too well set up, and they've scouted the Lightning well, because they know that the most dangerous when they get it in transition is Ernst right now, and someone right now has to do something else to try and stop her, because she has just taken over this game.
We did a game last week, Canberra-Adelaide, and the scoreline was exactly this against Adelaide. It didn't improve thereafter. They're asleep at the wheel early on as well, 14-2, but 14 straight points. We run for 3. Can that halt the momentum? Abby Weerung from long distance manages to drop her 3. Can they stop Bendigo at the other end? Here's Ernst, puts it in off the window, no good. Second attempt, that drops.
And that's the help side we're talking about. You've got to come across, if whoever's defending that ball screen on Ernst goes to help the ball, who's going to help on the roll? And then furthermore, who's going to really knuckle down and try and stop that O-ball? She probably should have made the first one, but everyone's got to be moving together on that string, really helping each other so that you can get out and run.
Basham with some early minutes. Weerung with back-to-back triples. Well, that'll help Adelaide's cause. That is. Here's Skinner trying to chuck it away. Talbot got a hand in there.
I'm not at all surprised to see Basham in early. She didn't play in the first half against the Boomers, came in, had a massive impact. Just her energy, she missed a couple easy layups, but she was terrific. And we'll have a look at the rebound stat. That is deja vu for the Adelaide Lightning, and that is not going to be too pleasant for the coaching staff.
They were down 12 in that category last start against Melbourne just last night. Meanwhile, Bendigo were beat up on the rebounds against Sydney on Sunday. Negative 19 in the category, so it was always going to be a big watch. You touched on it coming in, Pete. What a differential to start the game, 9-0.
Well, you can see the breakdowns that are happening on the defense for Adelaide, and Ernst has got a couple of easy ones, and when she's feeling good, it's going to make those tough ones feel even easier for her. But it's the Lightning offense, and it's not a bad way to play, because they do have that speed. They're young, they like to get up the floor, but you can only play that way if you can get stops consistently, and they haven't done that over 40 minutes in a game. So if they can put that together, then all of a sudden their offense starts to click, and they can really put points on the board quick.
Well, problem here, full court trap up the floor. Somehow Bendigo make their way through it. Ernst to Levy, puts the shot up, no help off the glass. Ends up over the baseline, it'll be Adelaide ball. So just conceded 14 straight points in the game. Back-to-back threes for Abigail Weerung. Now the margin back to 6, 2-possession game. Adelaide trying to work their way back into this opening quarter as Basham here off the dribble. Out to Wilson, 8 left on the red numbers. She's going to be called for a travel.
I think there was a couple more there. She happened to just be the one who was right in front of the referee's eyes, because it looked like a couple of them shuffled their feet. But this is where I'd like to see, we talk about the offense a lot of Adelaide. Weerung's hit 2 threes. Can we run something to try and get her another one, put her in a pick and roll or a pick and pop, and just see if she can get another 3, try and really feed that hot hand.
Pelvas with a big rainbow 3, didn't quite go. Lavey picks up the scraps, pops it in. Part of that Opal squad heading towards Tokyo, of course, the rescheduled Olympics next year. Tessa Lavey, Weirung for a third triple. Can't connect on this occasion. Skinner with the rebound. Now up in tempo again, the Spirit down the floor. Lavey off the dribble. Basham knocks it away. Skidding through to grab it, Weirung. Jump ball is going to be called. Announcement earlier in the week from Basketball Australia. The Opals will have a camp in the Gold Coast between January 3 and 10.
I'll tell you what, put every one of the point guards in a little king of the court, because Tessa Lavey is the one that we should be talking about. I know we haven't so much because Bendigo Spirit sitting at the bottom of the ladder, and there's been some other terrific guards, but she's definitely one of them, definitely in with a massive chance.
Down to Ernst, catch and shoot. More points for Carly Ernst. She's smoking at the moment in this opening quarter. Ernst up to 17 in a quarter of basketball. Adelaide run out of space on the baseline. Carly Ernst, 17 points, 5 rebounds. What a start in this game. Spirit leading the rebounding count 11-1. It's Tessa Lavey, who we were just speaking about moments ago, averaging 15 points on the year. #1 out of any player from Bendigo. Ernst doing her best to try and change that here with 17 in a turn. Back into the corner. Shot goes up from Todd Hunter. Doesn't drop. Ernst recovers the ball for more points. Left her 3 attempt a little short.
She's definitely due for a couple of heat checks, and you give her that the way she's shooting right now. And 17 and 6 so far. Still got 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and that's going to be obviously a huge thing that Chris Lucas will be talking about. Is right now we've got to really try and keep her quiet, because only 2 people have scored. Her and Tessa Lavey with 4. So if they can start to throw more bodies at her, be physical with her, then they can start to slow this thing down.
Marina Whittle comes back in. They did score 26 points in the opening quarter against Townsville. That's their season high in opening quarters this year, Bendigo. They're on track to beat that today. Talbot gets a look, puts it up, doesn't drop. Lavey on the long rebound up the floor. Ernst wants to get another shot up off the dribble. No help off the rim. Last touch Bendigo, so Adelaide's ball in the backcourt, back to 11 points. After Adelaide did close within 6. Carly Ernst averaging 14 and 7 for the year. She's got 17 and 6 in the opening quarter. She still has 2 minutes to run. Smith trying to get it back to Whittle. Whittle traps the ball, pops it in. Second make for Whittle, up to 4 points. Weirung with the 2 threes, leading the scoring for Adelaide early. 9-point game. Under the bucket, Rintala tries to pop it up, gets the bottom of the backboard. Here's a chance for Talbot in transition, one of the MVP candidates. Trying to swing it down to the corner, awake to it, Lavey in the passing lane. Pulls up off the dribble for Bendigo, a little too much on the shot. Brooke on the rebound. Away to Wilson. Thought about settling off the dribble, dumps it down low. Chelsea Brooke puts the shot up, no good. Smith the O-boarder, out to Talbot, shoots the 3. Doesn't get that to go. Pelvas recovers it, Spirit come up with the ball.
It's a bit of a pickup game type atmosphere right now, and not too much structure, but both teams trying to run and gun. But Tessa Lavey's defense, you see, she's always on her toes, and she can read the play so well. She's already got a couple steals and deflections. But she's one of those point guards which you just love to play with. She's going to find you in the right spot. You know she's going to be aggressive. Great take there.
Todd Hunter, assistance off the window, banks the points. Back to 11 the spread. Final minute opening quarter. Whittle settles on the shot. Doesn't drop for her. Ernst to be credited with another rebound. That gives her 7 for the term to go along with her 17 points. Get a 2 for 1 here if they're quick. Doesn't look like they're going to go with a quick play at all. Taking some of the pace out of the game. Shot clock down to single digits. Here's Tessa Lavey off the dribble. Guarded by Brooke. Step back deep 2. Across the front of the rim. Doesn't go. Smith pulls it down. Final 10 seconds here of the opening quarter. What a turn-up it's been so far as well. Bendigo looking for their first win of the season. They're on track after quarter one. Brooke puts up the prayer. It's not answered. Whittle, as the board lights up, shot misses, and that'll do us through quarter number one. Bendigo by 11 points. They went on a 14-point run at one stage in that opening quarter. Carly Ernst with a massive turn, 17-7. And Bendigo lead at 23, Adelaide 12.
She was outstanding and just got going early, had a couple of wide open threes and then starting feeling good about herself. Hit a nice little fadeaway in the block and probably unlucky not to hit that little pull up there, but this has been an issue with the Lightning because they let players feel good about themselves and they can get into this groove, which makes them really tough to stop. But look at the rebound count, 15-8. It's going to be disappointing because the defense for the most part hasn't been terrible. It's just you've got to right now stop Carly Ernst.
Here's Chris Lucas.
Here's the only one. Then the ball's falling on the floor again. We've got to come up with that. Okay, our second efforts, guys. Second chance points. Just give momentum back. All right. Yeah. Being against the press, that's just trying to slow us up. Let's get somebody to the middle here and then get into elbows action. So we bring the post up and then fly out of that. Pinch, dive, dribble penetration or pitch to the other side. Go 42, Carly, step. Okay, we'll have a look at that hard. Okay, get the screen right up here. Gotta get stops here. How many stops we got? Okay, let's go.
Here we go, ladies. 1, 2, 3, right.
Steph Talbot only 2 looks from the field, Pete, in that opening quarter, so 0 of 2. There's only 6 scorers in the game, would you believe? So Carly Ernst with 17-7 and Tessa Levy 4 points, 4 assists in that opening quarter, leading the way for Bendigo.
We heard Chris Lucas right there. He said only one of them's got all their points, which is true. And he said we've just got to pull momentum back. And when they do that, the Lightning are really tough because they get multiple stops in a row, they get out and run, and they find open shooters, and they're really aggressive, and it all starts on the defensive end. So if they're going to keep taking the ball out of the basket, it slows them down. And as we've seen over the last couple of games, they really struggle in that offensive set because they don't have enough plays to be able to go through it. So I love the way when they play quick, but that all just means your defense has to be way more on point. You've got to get more stops and really try and get out and run.
You mentioned the bigs have been a problem for Adelaide so far this year. She's a different kind of big, isn't she, Carly Ernst? That she's a threat from the perimeter, and we've talked a lot about how well she shoots the 3 ball and that she really gets rolling when it starts to drop for her. And this is a problem for Adelaide. This is the one thing they probably didn't want to happen in the opening quarter was Carly Ernst is involved and her shots dropping. Adelaide trying to turn some of that momentum. As Carly Smith drops a baseline jumper to start the scoring in quarter number 2. Margin back to 9. There's Jenny Rintala trying to make her way to the rack. Out to Skinner in the corner. Puts the shot up, doesn't go. Last touch Bendigo, Adelaide ball.
Already a better little start here from the Lightning. It's a good offensive set. You get the ball inside, everybody moving around, and get a nice little knockdown from Carly Smith. But probably more importantly, defensively, you manage to come up, limit them to 1 shot, a tough shot, and you get the ball straight back.
Ortlup of 7 points last night out to Talbot, looking for her first points in the game. To Smith up top, back to Talbot. Picks it up, shoots it, and it comes. That'll do from Steph Talbot. She's on the board here. And all of a sudden, a 2-possession game. First 5 points of the quarter for Adelaide. Ernst. Call the play through. Skinner. To Levy, back to Ernst, shoots over the defender, mistimed that shot, long rebound to Talbot. Oh, Luella Tomlinson trying to hand it off to Weerung. Some heavy contact in there on the way through from Paige Price.
That's another better defensive possession from the Lightning. Everybody's switching together, they're coming together to switch and passing each other off, and that's what they can do. They've got that speed, they've got that athleticism to be able to guard multiple positions. You're going to have Steph Talbot on the point guard. Weerung can be able to shift off to the wing. And then you can really stay together and force those tough shots.
Misfires, and the long 3 ball there, Ortlup on the deck. Ernst scrapping after it, jump ball call. We've seen them lead games already this year, Pete Bendigo, at both quarter time and half time. I saw Mary Goulding in one of our telecast games on the weekend. She was interviewed at half time, and it was Megan Huswaite who did the interview, asked her what has to change in the second half. She went quick, that it's a mental thing for them, that it's not a physical thing, that they had these lapses in games where they just can't bank cheap points when they need them. As Price shoots the three, hand on it on the way through, shot doesn't go, and Adelaide come up with it.
Well, it's absolutely right. Having not won a game, that's going to be in your mental state, especially as you get closer in the game, start building up a lead, thinking this could be it. It's hard not to be thinking about it. And another thing that would have to be talking about that is Tessa Levy played 40 minutes the other night. I know it was a couple of days ago. Ernst played 39. They're yet to take a seat so far tonight. And I think we know Tracy York, they're thinking is this is the night they're going to get a win. So they're going to throw everything at them. I doubt we'll see them sit. If we do, it'll be very quick.
Only Friday to come against the Melbourne Boomers. Again, they'll start a heavy underdog in the Bendigo Spirit. Otherwise, they'll have a winless season. 0-11 coming into the night. Weerun puts up the shot from the free throw line. Doesn't go, and Ernst grabs down the rebound. We say that again. 17 points and now 9 rebounds for Carly Ernst. She's on track here for a double-double in what, the first 13, 14 minutes of game time.
But if you're the Lightning, that's where there's two ways. If you can't kind of stop her, they've slowed her down a little bit since her start. Put her in some things defensively where you have to make a move her feet. She might pick up a couple of fouls here and there and really try and attack her on that end.
McLean catches the inbounds out the Pelbas, who's among the starters tonight, Shavana. Ernst on the perimeter, swings her arms around Smith. Levy on the handoff. Shot goes up from Levy. The foul was called away from the basketball though.
Yeah, on Carly Smith, she's being a little too physical with Ernst, but you live with that, you'd be happy with that because that's what you've got to do. You've got to do something else right now. That physicality. You look here in the handoff and Smith just running into her, trying not to let her get to the rim because she's been open a couple of times on those pick and rolls.
You mentioned Levy's minutes too, averaging 34 a game, so that's number 1 in the league for most minutes in such a condensed season on a team that's been well beaten. It's a magnificent effort to play that much court time throughout the entire season so far. Adelaide get another stop. Down low, Luella Tomlinson catches, spin move underneath the bucket, reverse layup, 2 more. So all of a sudden back within 4 points. It's as close as they've been since the opening stages of the game. Adelaide scored the first basket of the game, and from that point on, Bendigo went on a 14-0 run. They haven't seen the lead since, haven't been all that close. Ernst, an easy basket. That's better from Bendigo.
Well, the Lightning in a 1-3-1 zone. You see Abby Weerung just running side to side, just trying to get something and really switch something up. I like that defensive switch up from the Lightning, throw something different at him. But really nice passing for the Bendigo Spirit. That's what you've got to do against the 1-3-1. Get the ball inside, quickly outside, and you're going to end up finding a wide open layup if you move the ball quickly.
Standalone game tonight. Great to have you with us, wherever you tuned in across the country. Around the world, for that matter, wherever you're picking us up. Regular season fast coming to a close. There's no game at all on Saturday. We've got double headers Thursday and Friday, and then a triple header on Sunday. The final positioning in the top 4. Who will play who in the first week of the finals? Talk more about that at halftime as well. The final structure: 1v2, 3v4. Winner of 1v2 goes straight through to the grand final, and it's one and done on the other side of the draw for 3v4. Here's Coach Tracy York.
Just a total switch on that, just so she's not right wide open, but good carrying a hand. Everyone else should be plugging in that keyway. So when you go back out, just make sure you know who you've got. Can we have swinger down the next time, say for 2 in a row, and then horns up? We still want that focus inside, but we're rushing it a little bit and also not giving the post time to get to their spot that they need to be in, all right? Swing it down for 2, horns up for 1. Yeah, make sure we get the spots here.
Let's make everyone a driver. Execution. You now make her drive.
Heard Abby Weerung mentioned there and all of that. Has hit a couple. There's the 3-point percentages.
Yeah, Lightning left a couple there, some wide open ones that they'll be wanting to make, but Tracy York there just giving the instructions to Tessa Levy, running through their plays, trying to get something going here with Carly Ernst sitting for the first time and depending how these next 30 seconds or so go, she might be straight back in.
Ernst 19 and 9 in the game, her numbers at 17 and 7 in the opening quarter. Here's McLean, who started tonight. Lavey, catch, shoot, got it. That's a problem if Tessa Lavey starts to bang those down. 9-point game. Never looked like she was going to miss on that jumper either, Tessa Lavey. Made the decision to shoot as soon as she caught it. Answering with some points. Weirung at the other end takes it all the way to the cup.
Weirung's just had a great season, just shooting the ball really confidently, averaging 11 points a game, but not afraid to shoot after missing a couple, and that's what makes good shooters who they are. So it's a really promising sign for Chris Lucas and the Lightning.
Pelvas chucks it down low. Here's Skinner, spin move, jump hook, trying to get some assistance off the glass. Doesn't happen for her. Talbot up the floor. Out to Weirung, down low. Tomlinson catches underneath the bucket. Reverse layup attempt, no good. Over the baseline. The Adelaide ball. Isabella Tomlinson joined us for a chat pre-game. Mentioned she felt the time the team went into quarantine really halted the momentum of the side. They obviously started with 2 wins. A win over a depleted Canberra team on opening night, and then they beat Perth in Mackay. And really sat out all around 2, and it's meant their games have been bunched together from that point on. Here's Tomlinson trying to back her way in again. Through contact, shot goes up, no call. Ernst back out there, as you alluded to, Pete. Bendigo come up with it. Lavey decides not to shoot, down to Todd Hunter in the corner. The experienced vet trying to make her way into the lane. Weirung called for the block.
And back on your quarantine point, it would have hurt any team no matter what, but it definitely hurts Adelaide because of the way they play. We keep harping on about it, but they just play as that unit of they run and gun, and they really try and get stops, and it's a momentum thing for them. And you've seen in games, when they start rolling, they can just slowly start to get stops, build it up and put points on the board. And that momentum was built early. They were 2-0 and looking really good, and they were playing well together. And then without a preseason, it's really hard to buy back into all those little tangibles, and that's what they've been trying to do, which is no doubt very hard after what they've been through.
Ernst down low. Reverse layup, that's good. Carly Ernst. More points. Up to 21 in the game. It's been the go-to for Bendigo here, and the team on the back of it riding a 9-point advantage. Following called for the foul, coming a weak side. Not overly happy with it, but foul shots coming up nevertheless for Bendigo.
Well, she's probably got a fair right not to be too happy. It looked like a lot of ball from here, and he's having a nice little look and maybe just across that shoulder, but didn't do a lot wrong. But already this quarter, the offense from the Lightning has looked a lot better, a lot smoother, and they go east to west a lot. They come across the three-point line, and when they can really pick the right times to attack downhill, that's when they can be dangerous, when they're not out in the open floor.
Adelaide at the line, of course, 30-23, 7-point game. Both the foul shots land for Chelsea Brook. Another one who's had a breakout season for Adelaide. They've had a fascinating conversation the whole way through. Here's Lavey. At the Todd Hunter, 6 left on the red numbers. Up top, Ernst catches, takes on Wilson all the way to the hoop, puts the shot up, doesn't go. Tomlinson comes up with it for Adelaide. Early advance away to Brook, can't control the handle. Ends up hurdling over the top of the advertising hoardings. Margin remains at 7. I found they were one of the hardest teams to put your finger on early. Obviously, they've so much respect for what they've done in previous years, but big roster turnover this year. And the fact that they had been in quarantine, I think the question was how they were going to come out. They were 4-1 to start because they had so many games left. As the shot goes up from Ernst, trying to retreat out of the three-point line. They were always a huge mathematical show that if they went on a run, you sort of couldn't rule them out. As Alex Wilson lands a bomb. Meter bang from the three-point line. Closes the gap to 4.
Well, you're right. That's exactly why they were always going to be that chance. It was just about when were they going to find that form they had pre-quarantine. And in a hub season, in a compacted season, that's when the momentum of a team really rolls on. And Adelaide plays like that. They feed off the momentum together. They all get up and about. So they just haven't found that consistent game. And they're coming up right now against Tessa Lavey and Carly Ernst, who really haven't blinded us so far. But that's what we were waiting for. If they could get that earlier out of quarantine, then who knows what could have happened. And they can turn this around, and yes, they are still a mathematical chance. It will be hard, but it'd be good to see him just get one on the board.
Brooke trying to put the shot up, draws the contact again from Froling. She says, oh gosh, there's fouls called and foul shots coming up.
Chelsea Brooke's someone I've been just so impressed with this last week or so, and just taking advantage of opportunities. They came out, they played the Flyers, got blown out a couple of times in the Caps, but she was one that just never gave up, and Chris Lucas left her out there late in those games, and she was shooting the 3-ball well, she was shooting confidently, and she kind of blossomed into kind of that little third scoring. Now, I think that Chris Lucas almost expects her to average around 10, 15 points a game, which is always a good thing to be able to get midway through a season. So he'll be really happy with this little surprise packet.
4 points. Mentioned a few times, she won a state league MVP as a teenager. Chelsea Brooke now only 22 years of age and really starting to come on at the next level. Take the 4 points on the back of those made foul shots. What a night Tessa Lavy's had in so far. The floor general for the Bendigo Spirit. Here's Ernst down low. Nice shot, fading away. Just rattles another one in. Carly Ernst. It's been her night so far up to 23 points. Wilson thought about it through the hands of Whittle and now Weerung. Couple of triples already. Heads to the basket here and is fouled on the dribble penetration. So foul shots again coming up for Adelaide.
Carly Ernst, I mean, what a half, 23 and 9. And you can see that after she hit those first 2 threes, she's been hunting the three-point line a little bit, which is fair enough. When you're starting off like this, she's now 2 of 8. Seemed to have rushed a couple of threes, which, as I said, you let her have a couple of heat checks, but she's on track for a monster game. And as Chris Lucas said, right now it's one girl putting in the points, but Tessa Lavy's having a big part as well, finding her in the right spots. That is 9 and 4. So 2 players just really doing the damage.
Mark this down as a talking point pre-game that Bendigo, something they don't do as well as other sides. They don't get themselves to the line often enough. Game against Sydney the other day, they ended up losing by single digits. They were leading in the second half and only shot 6 foul shots in a whole game against the Flames. Early here, what is it? 2 free throw attempts to 8 against Bendigo. Both teams shooting perfectly so far from, against Adelaide. Both teams shooting perfectly from the line. There's that number. So just 1 trip for Bendigo so far. Jenny Rintala fouled. 4-point game. It was 11 points at quarter time. As Lavy and her crime partner Ernst going to work. Ernst trying to back her way in again. A little turnaround fadeaway jumper goes up, doesn't go. It's last touch by Adelaide, so it'll be Spirit balls still in their front court. There's the rebounding numbers too. Pete, you highlighted them early in the game. It certainly levelled up somewhat, so just 5 the differential at the moment.
It's been a much better second quarter from the Lightning, and this is what they have shown in their losing streak is they put these little patches out there which they look really good. They get stops, they can get back on the rebounds, and a lot of the rebounding disparities has been in the first and third quarters, and they have to chase their tail, and they do it really well. I think that game against the Lynx, they really evened up in the fourth quarter, but when you start in those kind of ways, you're always chasing your tail, you're just waiting for another lap. So hopefully they can keep this going, finish out these last 2 minutes strong, and then Chris Lucas will set that challenge. He's going to say, look, we had a great quarter, it's got to come in this next quarter, and then just try and build that consistency.
Did the game the other night as well. I think the Canberra game, where their last quarter was their best quarter, they looked sensational after 3/4 time, and they were 30-odd down or something.
And they should take a lot of positivity out of that, because they were playing. The Canberra rolled out their starting unit in a blowout game at 3/4 time. A couple of the bench girls were on for the Lightning, and they took it to them, and then it ended up being a massive fourth quarter for the Lightning. So you'd hope they went back and looked at that, saying, look, that we weren't playing bench unit on bench unit. They had their full starting squad out there, and we had a really good quarter. We need to play like that every single quarter, and we can win many games. And I think that's something that they really have lacked over the 5-game losing streak they've had. And it's easy to be able to say, just flick a switch, but obviously being in this kind of season, what they've been through, it's so much easier said than done.
27-13 was that last quarter Adelaide's way against the Capitals last week. Standalone game, Wednesday night hoops. WNBL final round of the regular season. Bendigo looking for their first win. Adelaide on a 5-game skid looking to try and snap that. Here's Tessa Lavey again, creates her own shot off the dribble. Goes up, no good. Wilson pulls down the rebound. Out in front of the path of Talbot. Back up top to Wilson. Hesitated on the 3-ball. Whittle, handoff to Weerung. Up top, Brooke chucks it down low. Whittle catches, stripped by Todd Hunter, and Bendigo come up with it. Here's Lavey down the floor. Shavana Pelvast to Ernst. Trying to take on Talbot. Jump hooks up, doesn't drop. Underneath the basket, Rintala again has a shot blocked, and Adelaide come up with it.
Just much better defense on Carly Ernst. Alex Wilson a couple of plays before, forcing her into a tough fadeaway, and then Steph Talbot just all physical, just using her body and making that an uncomfortable shot for Ernst.
It's a 4-point game. Haven't been closer than this really since Bendigo started scoring. Talbot's 3-ball a little short. Pelvast on the rebound. Final minute here of the opening half. Lavey takes some time out of the game clock. Goes to work off the dribble. Mismatch on Brooke. Throws it down to the corner. Here's Pelvast. Ugly looking shot goes up. Hand on it from Rintala. Ends up over the sideline.
I'll give her some credit. I think that was a pass that she just acknowledges Rintala right there. But again, better defense on the Lightning. This is what we want to see. This is what they can do when they have the ability. They're really athletic and can play that kind of defense. It's just about being on the same page, moving, helping each other out, and we've seen that from this quarter.
6-second differential. Wilson shoots early in it and drops. Dagger from Alex Wilson, straight on triple. 1-point game. Final 10 seconds before the half. So all of a sudden, for all Bendigo's hard work, they lead by a point. Lavey puts the shot up, blocked by Brooke, ends up over the baseline. There'll be seconds go back on the clock here. It's going to be Spirit ball. And they'll have a catch and shoot scenario here, I'm certain, Pete, with at least a second plus on the clock.
Alex Wilson's turned down a couple of threes from that distance in this quarter, and even in the first quarter. Has a little bit of happy feet trying to drive, but she's got the ability to knock that down from deep. And 0.4.
That's not a heap of time. And not enough time to get anything up. I think Adelaide will almost take that. Carly Ernst 23-9 in the opening half of basketball. Bendigo, they went on a 14-0 run at one stage. They led by 11 points at quarter time. And yet at halftime, Bendigo led it by just a point. It's the Spirit 34, the Lightning 33.
Just two different teams in that game in the first quarter and second quarter. Lightning really showed what we love to see from them. Their defense is better, they're controlling the glass, and that's why they're back in this ballgame.
So it's halftime, standalone basketball, Wednesday night hoops at the Cairns Pop-Up Arena. At halftime, Bendigo lead it by a point. A bit to pull apart in all of that. Carly Ernst with a dominant first half performance. It looked as if Bendigo were going to snap this 11-game losing streak. They did lead it by as many as 12 points in that opening quarter. They led by 11 at quarter time. And in the end, Adelaide managed to close the gap and draw within just a point, Pete, at half time. How do you think that sits? Is it good enough for Bendigo just to be in front based on what they were able to do early?
Well, they'll be disappointed because they got off to a flyer and they played so well. And you've got to know that Carly Ernst, it's going to be tough to get 17 points every quarter. But that's because Adelaide made adjustments. They were more physical. They made her take some tough shots and really kind of locked in. And they bought into what Chris Lucas was saying at quarter time. One girl was doing all the damage. And they'll be really happy, the Lightning, with how they played that second quarter. And Tracy York will be saying they've got to get back to what they were doing in that first quarter. So just a tale of two different halves in that first bit of the game.
So what were a few of those things that they went away from Bendigo in that second quarter?
Well, the Lightning were getting better shots. They were getting better looks. So the defense from the Spirit wasn't quite there. But it also looked like they were getting sped up offensively. And I think that credits the Lightning. We talked about how quick they are, how athletic they are. If they can buy into that on the defensive end, then they can get out and run. And they were doing it. And they kind of took the spirit out of what they wanted. I think that three by Levy right there was really the only breakdown they had. Carly Smith getting caught up on a screen. But besides that, they were moving. Everyone was just moving together and being really physical. And I think that started with someone putting the body on Carly Ernst. She's got 23 and 9, but they kept her off the glass, didn't have a rebound for the last few minutes there, and just made every shot she took have to work for it.
It was a pretty entertaining half of basketball in the end. So Bendigo, as we said, jumped out to an early lead. They were able to close it down towards the back end of that quarter. Steph Talbot, someone who we've been tracking closely across the course of the year. She's in the MVP conversation. And so far, they've done a pretty good job on her, limiting her chances in transition in particular.
Yeah, they had. That's when she's at her best, because she's really freakishly athletic in the open floor and is a really crafty player, can get through small gaps. But she doesn't have to do too much of that, because I think the Lightning have now found that they've got other avenues. Alex Wilson's picked up a little bit. Abby Weirung, Chelsea Brook, and Marina Whittle. Good to see her back in the starting lineup and chipping in here and there. So I think overall they'll be happy with the spread they've got from the contributors on the offense. And now it's all about, can they go back in this third quarter and do it all again?
Let's take a look at a few of the match stats in that opening half of basketball. So, as we said at quarter time, it was an 11-point advantage for Bendigo. Their lead cut to just 1, Pete, at the half.
Yeah, a lot of similar stats. You look around there, 3-pointers from Bendigo. Carly Ernst, fair enough, had a couple of heat checks out there, a tough few contested threes, but just the rebounds, they put themselves in a hole, the Lightning. They should be leading this game at halftime, but they started early with just not getting through good offense and letting Carly Ernst get off, and then they were chasing their tail, which has hurt them in every other game, because they're playing the championship contenders. They're playing the top 3 of the ladder, and when you're down by double digits early, the good teams are just going to put you away. So I think that's something that the Lightning will be happy with, to be able to peg this one back and to be within reach at halftime is going to be a massive tick.
Yeah, I think it was 9-0 at one stage. The rebounding count Bendigo's way, 11-1 approaching quarter time, and they've really closed that gap to just 6 the differential at half time. On the scoreboard, it's Bendigo who lead it by 1 point. One of the great things about the season so far have been the breakout players that we've seen. We've been able to see some of the most exciting teenagers in Australian basketball. Shyla Heal, obviously Jade Melbourne, who's in Rookie of the Year conversations. And there's another youngster from the Bendigo Spirit. They've got 2 players who are just 17 years of age. We've seen Paige Price on the floor already. The other is Piper Dunlop, who Megan Huswaite had the chance to catch up with a short time ago. And they had a chat about how she was sitting a Year 11 exam while inside the quarantine hub up there in far north Queensland as the WNBL season continues.
I'm 17 now, so just completed Year 11 this year. Term 4 continued into the hub. So I did the exam up in Townsville at a secondary school, like 3 minutes away from the stadium, because we thought originally that I was going to have to go from the exam to the court. And then it kind of got moved around, so it was an off day, and then we had a game on it anyway. So yeah, it was stressful, but I couldn't have asked for a better team. Like, they were all for, like, no, you need a break now, but then they were also like, okay, like, we're gonna leave you alone, get your work done. The night before, and they were all like, you know, reading off my board that I made, like testing me, which was, yeah, it was amazing. I went in that exam feeling great because I had great girls surrounding me. Growing up, I've always followed the Bendigo Spirit. I've loved like their style of play, like the tempo, but then also like the controlled game of like female basketball. Happy is, it doesn't even comprehend how I feel waking up in the morning, then like going and having breakfast with girls that I've idolized. Like, I sit there and sometimes I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I fangirl every day. It's insane. I lined up against Kelsey Griffin, and honestly, it was probably the biggest moment to smell the roses. I remember, I think I was like running down the court and Carly was like, you take Griffin. And I looked at her like, what? I've always expected more from myself, and I've always pushed myself to compete. And I think she's such a good role model, and I've looked up to her for so many years, and finally be playing against her, it's a dream come true. I can't put words to it, how grateful I am to be here and to get a W for the Bendigo Spirit and come home and just, it will be amazing. I can't wait.
Great to hear from Piper Dunlop, the 17-year-old, one of two in the Bendigo Spirit lineup, and a nice chat with Megan Huswaite.
Oh, it's great, and I have a similar story in that regard. I grew up an Eastern Mavericks boy from Adelaide, and I watched Jacob Holmes play in the Adelaide League, and I always had one of his first 36ers jerseys. Then the year before I went to college, I was training with the Sixers for the whole year. Jacob Holmes was there, and it was kind of in awe to be on his team and have so much to do with him now. He's doing such great things for the Players Association for both the men's and women's leagues, but it is a surreal feeling. I know exactly what she's talking about, to be able to see your idols and then go and become close with them. It's just an awesome feeling.
She's got minutes in 7 of the 11 games played so far for Bendigo, so let's see if we see her in this second half. It's actually the 4th time so far this year that the Spirit have led at half-time. They're up by a point here against Adelaide, and a nice little piece of symmetry, they also led by a point against Adelaide the last time they played before the Lightning went on to win by 6. We're just going to take a look at the other end of the table. Let's have a look at the ladder, obviously, with the playoffs just around the corner, Pete, and this is how it's stacked up at the moment. So you see the 4 teams in the top 4 there, which we suspect are going to be our playoff side. So, barring complete disaster and big turnaround in form lines at the moment, but the Southside Flyers, they sit on top with 9 wins and 3 losses, Canberra and Melbourne. And then a game further behind them, the Townsville Fire. But of course, the Fire, they have games to come against Adelaide and Melbourne. So they play another one of those teams around their station.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a cracking final series. And I think you probably can be comfortable with Southside finishing first. And they've just flicked a switch since they lost to Canberra. And the way they lost, team meeting, players just put their hands up. They found role clarity and now they're on a roll. And that's a dangerous sign with such a talented team. But in a season like this, when it's win or go home, essentially, except for the top 2, if you catch one of these teams that the favourites sleeping, then anything can happen. And momentum's a huge part of it. There's some massive games on Sunday to finish out where the ladder will sit. But there's a couple of teams I think that are in a real good chance to win this.
I should have teed this up ahead of time, but I'll come back to that. This is the playoffs, of course, which are going to be played in Townsville. WNBL.basketball/tickets. So if you're watching and you're in Townsville or you think you can get there in a hurry before next week, this is the sort of place that you'll be going to watch the WNBL playoffs. There's going to be some tremendous basketball being played in Townsville. You can get onto that website and pick up your tickets now for the upcoming final series. But just to run a little scenario by you, there it is again, WNBL.basketball/tickets. You mentioned that it feels like Southside are going to finish on top, the form they're playing in at the moment. They've won their past 5 games. If they lose to Canberra on Sunday, which is the last game of the regular season, there's every chance that the top 3 teams could all finish on 3 wins. Now, if that happens, it'll come down to season splits, as we know, and this is sort of blue skying the whole season for the other teams as well, being obviously Melbourne and the Canberra Capitals, if they win their remaining games. Southside actually don't own the split against either of those 2 teams. So it's amazing that they're on top of the table at the moment. A lot of people would have them starting as favourites against Canberra on Sunday. But if they lose that game, they could find themselves finishing 3rd.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. There's so much left to play out. There's some crucial games. And not only those, but all teams have to take care of business leading up to that game. And as we said, the Flyers looks like they're playing their best basketball right now, but they can't afford any slip up. And you mentioned the finals being in Townsville. If you're out there in Townsville, your Townsville Fire are so fun to watch when they're up and gunning, and they're an exciting prospect. And again, the momentum, if you can get behind them, then all of a sudden they get wins under their belt. They're a team that you don't want to face, but there's just so many different storylines. You've got the Caps, the championship experience. When does that come into play? You've got the loaded roster, you've got the Boomers, you've got Opals. It's going to be an incredible final series.
I don't know if people feel like we don't give Townsville enough of a shake at times. They own the split against 2 of these teams. So they've got the split against Canberra. Their form hasn't been great in recent times. And they're currently plus 12 against Melbourne, who they play again. So there's every chance that Townsville could leap a little higher up the table if results go their way. But it'll be a fascinating end to the WNBL regular season, of course, which all comes to a close on Sunday. That's the regular season, of course. And then the playoffs begin the following Wednesday. Don't forget you can grab your tickets through WNBL.basketball/tickets. So back to the here and now, Pete. The second half action upon us. Spirit for the 4th time this year leading at half-time. They haven't been able to convert any of those half-time leads so far. 0-11 on the season. Can Carly Ernst heat up again. She had 17 and 7 in the opening quarter. She's got 23 and 9 to the half.
Well, this is exactly, we've got a storyline on both sides here. Can Bendigo finally get on the board? They're in a position to do it. 20 minutes left, and on the flip side, the Lightning, they've clawed it back and once again shown what they're capable of in a quarter. They had a bad first quarter, bad start, really turns it around. Can they find a consistent 20 minutes here to work on and try and get back into the winners column? So one of these teams has got to win, and it's all going to be about probably the first couple of minutes trying to set a tone, because the Lightning don't want to be in a position where they're chasing their tail again. I know they're not playing the Boomers, the Caps, or the Flyers, but as we saw, the Spirit got on a roll early, and that's not what the Lightning can afford.
What's happened here? I think they were about to give possession to Bendigo, and they realised it's actually going to be Adelaide ball here to start the second half. Casey York's not overly thrilled. Possession with Adelaide in the grey singlets, Bendigo in the blue. Second half action coming up. Spirit by a point. Corbin Middlemass and Pete Hawley, WNBL. The final week of the regular season before the playoffs. Down to the corner, here's Wirung. Off the dribble, up top, Brook down low, Whittle catches, pops it up and in. And just like that, we got a lead change. Straight out of the gates in the second half, Adelaide back in front.
Just good offense, that's what we talked about in the second quarter. The ball was moving through hands, getting side to side, and Whittle, I'm glad she's back in the starting lineup because she can be a little spark, but the defense by Wirung. We talk about the X factor on the Lightning. Chelsea Brook and Wirung can split that.
Wilson just given the cushion, settles on her shot, doesn't drop. Point the difference. Bendigo have led for most of the night. Led by 12 points at one stage in the opening quarter, led by 11 at quarter time. Trying to get the ball moving, 4 seconds to go. Turnaround jumper's good. Demi Skinner inside the keyway, answers straight back. Third lead change of the night. Spirit by a point. Talbot. It's had our usual high numbers in terms of points and rebounds that we're used to as Whittle takes it all the way to the hoop. Nice finish. Marina Whittle through contact. Second make of this third quarter. Helvas to Skinner. Down to Ernst. Throws it back outside. Levy thought about shooting off the dribble. Kicks it back out. Skinner for three. Left it a little short. Ernst a touch on it. Bendigo recover the ball. McLean back to Levy. 10 left on the shot clock. Ernst has a clean look and she knocks it down. Carly Ernst. There's that heat check for her, Pete, early in the second half.
Well, it's deja vu, wide open one. She'd missed a couple in that second quarter, and now you're just trying to have to find a body. You can't let her feel good about herself because you know how dangerous she is. And the Spirit, only 4 players have scored, and that's a great take by Chelsea Brook and good finish. But Ernst has 26, Levy has 9, and then Skinner and Todd Hunter have 2 apiece. So right now it's just 2 players doing all the damage. That's exactly how the game started. A wide open 3 for Carly Ernst, and then she started feeling really good about herself. So for the Adelaide Lightning right now, this next possession down the floor, you got to get a body on her, be physical, and make sure she doesn't get another open one.
83% from the free throw line this year. No problems on the foul shot. 5th lead change of the quarter, 6th of the game. She's swinging on every basket at the moment. Adelaide by a point. Early stages, third term. Pelvast, she's Skinner underneath the bucket, didn't see her. Goes to Ernst, back to Pelvast, out to Levy. Shoots the rainbow 3, Tessa Levy. Second made 3-pointer for the Opal squad member in Levy. Bendigo back up by a couple. Talbot rockets the pass into the corner for Wirung. Talbot thought about shooting over the top of Pelvas. Now tries to take her to the rack. Spin move, shot up and in. Locks it up at 42 apiece.
Oh, Steph Talbot, she's just so multifaceted in the way she plays. She can score from so many different areas in so many different ways. And I'll tell you what, Tessa Levy, she's quietly... I don't think we have talked enough about how good of a point guard she really is. And it is hard in a position where the team's 0-11, but she is a terrific, terrific guard.
Lavey away to Skinner. Oh, she's going to be called for the walk. Too eager taking off. Now a cross-code athlete as well, Tessa Lavey, signing with the Richmond Football Club for the upcoming AFLW season.
There's a couple of those, and obviously Monique Conti as well, and just gives you that extra. It's kind of the way they both play. They're both super quick and they're both physical for their size. And
she was asked about it recently, about the year ahead. Obviously, Tokyo Olympics, she's part of that squad. There's a camp on the Gold Coast. Said footy's been very supportive. Of course, she's a star player in basketball, and not that I'm sure she's talented in footy as well, but the potential of going to the Olympics around the corner. She said the footy club's been incredibly supportive of what's ahead and her commitments to basketball. So, yeah, she doesn't think it'll be a distraction at all or take anything away from her hopes to make it to Tokyo.
Well, that's what you want, because that puts her in a great mindset to know that she can try and go out there and really achieve the best she can in both her dreams. It's just a unique situation of what she can do, and as we mentioned, Monique Conti as well. It's just an awesome to be able to be super elite at both sports and at the top of your game, and to be able to have both clubs behind you in different codes, giving you all that confidence to go ahead and reach those dreams. It'd be an awesome feeling.
Talbot uncharacteristically misses both at the line. She's had just 5 points for the night, Steph Talbot. Didn't have massive games numbers-wise during the week. 11 and 6 against Melbourne. That was last night. Lavey, the pass to Todd Hunter in the way. Wilson comes up with it, downhill, misses. Lavey got back to put the pressure on the shot. Great work after throwing the turnover. Scores level again. Pelvast in the corner, away to Ernst. Shot goes up, doesn't drop. Smith fumbles it over the baseline. Gives it back to Bendigo. Carly Ernst, a mountain of work already, 26 and 10. After 17 points and 7 rebounds in the opening quarter. Pelvas throws it in. Ernst quickly catches, releases. Shot doesn't go. Weerung up the floor. To Wilson, to Weerung, now to Talbot. Draws the defender, out to Smith. Pass to Wilson, shot up, doesn't go. Ernst on the rebound again, her 11th board. Here's Todd Hunter, another one of the experienced Spirit players. Back to help out Bendigo this year after a couple of years out of the game. Step back three, Tessa Lavey bangs it down. Beautiful work off the dribble from Tessa Lavey.
That's super tough. A nice little crossover into a step back, nothing but net. And we're going to keep talking about Carly Ernst's numbers right now, but Tessa Lavey, 15, 4 and 6. Just doing what we know she can do so well. It's Weerung, jeez, little lefty jelly there. And another one, we talked about the breakout star. She's had a really, really good season for the Lightning.
She won't go away. The 24-year-old up to 12 points for the night. 6 in the opening quarter, 4 in the second. Lavey again off the dribble, draws the defenders out to Pelvas, to Skinner, extra pass. Todd Hunter, bounce pass down to Ernst. Back to Todd Hunter as the board lights up, a little long on the three-point attempt. And Whittle pulls it down for Adelaide. Away to Talbot. Talbot shot up and it drops through the contact. Draws the foul from Lavey and Steph Talbot. Count on that one.
This is the Adelaide Lightning that we said that they could show up and do. It starts on the defense. They get out and run. Great look by Alex Wilson. Really nice finish from Steph Talbot. And what's most impressed me is after Carly Ernst knocked down that shot, the next 2 possessions down the floor, someone had a body on her. She took 2 rough shots and shots because there was bodies, there was physicality, and it shows that they learned from that first quarter when she got off.
It's a worry too. It hasn't been Steph Talbot's night so far, but if she gets involved here, she has the ability, as we know, Pete, just to take games away from oppositions. Here's Tessa Lavey. Down to Ernst. Ernst draws the foul. Oh, Lavey feeling it. Shoots the 3. There's no problems with that.
Well, now it's Tessa Lavey's turn to try and just tick that scoreboard over and feeling good about herself. So now it looks like it's on Alex Wilson to try and go to her and try and limit her effect on the game, because Carly Ernst had that 17-point quarter. Tessa Lavey could start to put that together.
It's been a great quarter of basketball. 7 lead changes. 8 in the game. Adelaide by a couple, but Bendigo with possession. 6 left on the shot clock. Todd Hunter has the clean look, left it short. Todd Hunter recovers it, new 14. Froling sets the pick. Levy rolls off it, pulls up off the dribble, a little long again on the shot. Talbot competing for the rebound, ends up over the baseline, last touch Bendigo.
I mean, it's an outstanding stat sheet to look at it right now. Levy and Cairns, we know they're two superstars, but 41 of their 45 points. They've taken 31 of the 47 field goals, so it's not like they've taken every shot. There's plenty of other shots around, it's just no one's hitting them.
Here's Talbot, they get her down in the low block, shot goes up, and that's good. So all of a sudden it's a 4-point lead for Adelaide. That's their biggest lead of the night. It comes with 3 to play in the third quarter. Levy, Ernst, they play big minutes. Ernst catch and shoot in the corner. No good. Spills to Wilson. Adelaide slow it down. Tomlinson away to Talbot. Trying to work her way into the game. Down low to Tomlinson. Up top, Brook shoots. Misfires. Ortlip comes up with it. New 14 as it skims off the rim. Ortlip down to Brook, trying to get the shot up. Whistle on the play. Foul shots coming up.
Really, really smart play by Chelsea Brook, just using her body, sealing up, and she was open for a couple seconds before that ball. But you got to look at the Adelaide defense. They're everywhere. Carly Ernst pops out for a 3 on the corner and is contested and might have got a little piece of it. This is what I mean by the Lightning. This is what we were accustomed to seeing early in the season, where they can turn their defensive stops into points and start to really build margins. And this is what they've struggled to do these last 5 games, is play like this consistently. And this has to be a welcoming sign for, I'm sure, them as well, but definitely the coaching staff.
So Chelsea Brook makes both of them at the line. Looks at foul shooting as well. 7 of 7. They're 12 of 14 as a team. 6-point game. McLean trying to make her way to the bucket. She's fouled. She'll get the chance to go to the line. Touched on this earlier, Pete, the free throw differential is, saw that graphic pop up. So 12 of 14 as a team, of which Chelsea Brooks had 7 shots and made all of them at the free throw line. Bendigo, this is only their 3rd and 4th foul shots coming up in the game. That's the difference right there.
Well, it is, and a lot of the shots they have made, we get another Spirit player hitting the scoreboard, have been those wide open 3 balls, so they haven't had the need to really get in there. And the other ones has been Carly Ernst just knocking down some tough ones in the post. But besides that, they haven't put too much heat on the rim, and they don't really get out in transition. So it's just 2 contrasting styles of play.
Can they turn around the momentum here? They led by 12 points earlier in the game, the Spirit. Momentum with Adelaide. They're able to wipe off a lot of that deficit in the second quarter, outscoring Bendigo 21-11 in the term. And this quarter, it's been a seesawing affair so far with 7 lead changes. The bonus here, so foul shots coming up. And Luella Tomlinson, who we spoke to pre-game, to take them. There's not a lot of foul shots to take this year, must be said. As far as my count, I think there's the first foul shots coming up as Tomlinson misses the first, makes the second. Back to 5 points. Ernst trying to feed it down low to Froling. Recovers the ball. Talbot manages to come up with the strip. Talbot trying to make her way to the basket. Out wide for Ortlip. Dribble penetration. Brook dumps it down low. Tomlinson trying to back her way in on Froling. Steps around. Ortlip up top has the clean look. Misfires. Brook the eyeball and the putback.
Well, Chelsea Brook's been the one so far. She's up to 11 points, but just finds herself in the right spot. She knows where is her best asset to the game, and when she picks and pops, she's yet to hit a 3. That's normally a real strong part of her game, but she rolls well, she seals well, and right now you can just hear that Adelaide energy lifting from their bench unit, which is something that we haven't seen for about a week and a half, and it starts on their defense, and then their offense just flows.
Bit of desperation for Bendigo as Tessa Levy desperate to try and turn around the momentum. Shoots that step back 3, it doesn't drop. Last touch off Froling. So 7-point game. It's the biggest lead for Adelaide so far in the contest. Down low, Brooke, who's been excellent. Wilson down to the corner. Ortler trying to pass it through. The ball finding energy here for the Lightning. Tomlinson trying to work her way in. Shoots the pass to Talbot. Shot goes up. Second attempt. Gets it to go. Steph Talbot.
It wasn't the cleanest offense, but the ball moved through hands, and then eventually you find your best player who gets a strong little putback finish. But it's just, again, this is Adelaide Lightning. We didn't see this in the first quarter. They have just been outstanding in this last 20 minutes.
Ernst. She gets some safe points for Bendigo. Leaves her shot short. That's worked for her most of the night. Wilson to Talbot, the two stars for Adelaide combined. Talbot runs straight into the D. There's a push that's going to be called here.
It's a really great take by Froling right there, knowing that Steph Talbot's probably going to want to try and make something out of nothing. But you're right, Carly Ernst has made that shot a couple of times, but that was when she was feeling really good in the first quarter. And since that, everything's been physical, been harder, and those shots, she's got tighter legs now, and it doesn't seem to get enough under those fadeaway shots. A big credit to the defensive energy lifting here for the Lightning.
Had 17 and 7 in the opening quarter. She's had 9 and 4 since in 2 quarters of basketball. Tessa Levy, the floor leader out there for Bendigo. Oh, and Rintala and Wilson caught in a tangle, and Wilson threw her head back. The ref's bought, but she saw Rintala's going to be called for a foul off the ball, and that's not what Bendigo need. Closing in on 3/4 time in a game which is drifting away from them again. They led the game 45-44 not that long ago. That's Bendigo, 12-2 run Lightning's way. Wilson extends that. That's money from up top, out of the hand of Alex Wilson. Right on the stroke of 3/4 time. And boy, does that hurt. The Lightning 59, Bendigo 47. They make it a 12-point game, which is an equal game-high margin. This time Adelaide's way. Bendigo led by the same spread in the opening term. It's Adelaide 59, Bendigo 47, 3/4 time.
Well, this is exactly what you get with a team like the way the Adelaide Lightning is set up. They like to play fast and play with energy, and everything just comes together when that energy's there and it starts on the defensive end. You hear the whole team, the whole bench is up and about, and it just leads to that confidence on the offensive end. The ball's moving through hands and you're getting to hit those step backs. Alex Wilson's got going a little bit. Steph Talbot in transition. But Chelsea Brooks, another one, just doing what we've seen the last couple of weeks. And to be able to, for Chris Lucas and the Lightning, to be able to put it together 2 back-to-back quarters like that will make him very happy, but the job's not over yet. They've got to come out and really just put this to bed early.
See the breakdown there, so particularly after quarter time, they've been outscored 47-24. Adelaide doing a lot of the damage in the last 5 minutes there of that third quarter. Here's Chris Lucas.
Jump stop here, but we're looking for the hammer for our, okay, or the shot here. So you either got pass or you got the shot, okay? So you're coming off the hammer. Start in that corner, but get above the seam there. Okay, now defensively, finish plays, keep pushing the ball, play with 2. I like our patience. Patience has been good. Keep being aggressive. Right, second touch, especially against the zone, mate. They're yours. Right, you take those strong. Right, you got it. Right, hey, don't let off. Okay, keep going. Come on, let's go.
Strike on 3, 1, 2, 3. Strike!
How did they do it, Pete, in the back end of that third quarter?
Oh, their defensive pressure with their physicality was just way better. They're fighting through screens, but they're all moving together and the energy was there and everything else will flows. That's the kind of team they are. When that starts on one end, the rest will take care of itself. As I said, they're not made for a half-court breakdown offense, get through sets. They like to run and gun and know that they can do that every now and then, and that's what they showed. They got out and run in transition, ran a couple of plays when they had to. But I tell you what, if you're Taylor Ortler, what a position to be in right there. Chris Lucas looks at you and says, that second touch of his own, you let that fly. You've got the green light to be able to just catch and shoot when you get to that second touch of his zone right there. So that's a great position to be in as a young guard.
Great spread of scorers too, isn't it? You touched on this during the term. They've got 7 different scorers, but 4 of them in double figures, and Marina Whittle with 8. So it hasn't just been the Steph Talbot show where they've sort of been able to ride on the back of some really big nights from Talbot this year. That's hasn't been this game if you're just flicking on for the first time. 12-point game. McLean off the dribble, chucks up a prayer, hits the backboard hard, doesn't go.
You already see just the different intent everyone's hunting those rebounds, not giving the Spirit a second chance at it, which we haven't seen as of late. So it's got to be a really, really welcoming sign. And now it's all about, they've got 9 minutes, every single minute tick off as a win and just getting in that right direction.
2 of the last 3 games that have been played in the season, the side at three-quarter times come back to win. Now, point that out, Pete, because only once in the first 41 games did we have a three-quarter time comeback. So, generally, if you were playing in front this late in the game, you went on to win, until very recently. So, if you're a Bendigo Spirit fan and you're up late watching at home and looking for a little bit of hope, maybe statistically at least, we can give you that. Unusual shot clock violation against Adelaide. Froling down to Ernst. Ernst up and in. Can that get the Spirit rolling?
Up to 28-11 now, just really good positioning. Holding Steph Talbot off, great little pass over, and she was always going to finish that because she just got herself in a great position.
First points there of the final quarter, 10-point game. Talbot at 9 points in the third quarter, shoots the 3, no good. And Ernst another rebound. Levy to Ernst, has a clean look up top. Oh, just rims out. Talbot with the rebound. Talbot down low for Chelsea. Brooke, who catches and a hand on it from Ernst on the way through. Brooke's been really good again, having an outstanding season. Up to 11 points, had 7 of them in that third quarter where Adelaide really got rolling. Froling, spin move, takes on Tomlinson. Shot goes up. Tomlinson does well to affect the shot. It's one basket in the opening 2 minutes of the final term. Wilson makes it 2.
It might look like a bad shot right there, shot selection with the step back, but that's the way they play. That's the way Alex Wilson likes to play. And a good look ahead by Steph Talbot and Alex Wilson making something out of nothing. But when she's aggressive in that attack mode and she's feeling good about herself, you live with those kind of shots.
Around the horn, Skinner to Ernst to Levy. 4 left on the shot clock. Levy's going to shoot it off the dribble, left it short. O'Born put back for Carly Ernst. So 2 baskets to start the final quarter for Ernst. Mentioned Pete, they need her to catch fire again. Wilson to answer back. A little short, Ernst on the rebound. The numbers ticking over, up to 30 and 14. Change of pace. Levy off the dribble. McLean, Skinner. Skinner shot up, it's flat, doesn't go. O'Born Froling with the putback. Back to 8 points.
Lightning, O'Boards have killed them in the last few games. They did well in that second and third quarter to really keep the Spirit off second chance opportunities, but already 3 here that have been capitalised, every single one.
Talbot to try and take some of the tension out of it, misses. Door ajar, 6:40 to play. 3 possession game. So we've touched on already, we've seen them in this scenario this year. Close enough if good enough. Talbot with the intercept. Talbot down the floor. McLean has to foul to stop the shot. Great awareness, Steph Talbot. Sniff out the pass, come up with possession, and then downhill. She's tough to beat in that scenario, one-on-one, Pete.
Oh, she is. She's one of the best in the league in the open floor. As I said, she's really quick and really creative. Can weave through those gaps and a really good finisher. But up to 12 points, only 5 rebounds. Hasn't set the world on fire with her scoring tonight, but it's more of her leadership and the way she started to be physical in that second quarter with Carly Ernst after she got off was something that you want your leaders to do, your superstars to come in and lead by example. But yeah, as you said, it's been a tough shooting night, uncharacteristic again from the line. But we know that when it comes down to this game, that Steph Talbot, Alex Wilson, Tessa Levy and Carly Ernst are going to have a massive say in who wins this one.
They've only won 2 final quarters so far this year. Talbot leaves her foul shots out there again. It's the second time she's gone to the line tonight and come away with nothing. They give the Spirit a bit of a pep in their step down the other end. Tessa Levy. Ernst with the handoff. Levy with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Draws the double team, running out of time, throws it away. Wilson comes up with it for Adelaide. So 11 final quarters, only 2 final quarters won against Perth and Townsville, and that was a long time ago. So last 6 final quarters, they've been outscored in each of them. We run, cutting along the baseline. Away to Tomlinson. Reaching over the top, Ernst, and should be called for the foul.
Abby Weerung, to be able to be more than just that three-point threat, put the ball on the floor, not get out of control, not force anything, find Tomlinson there, and as you said, only free throws earlier in this game, so hopefully she can knock 2 right now because Steph Tauber should have made her 2, and this lead should be bigger.
Timeout called, so before the foul shots, Chris Lucas wants to chat. The other thing to point out too, of course, Adelaide on the second leg of a back-to-back, so you did their game last night, Pete, against Melbourne. Bendigo haven't played since they match up with Sydney on Sunday, so in theory they should have the fresher legs.
Well, it works in 2 ways. It depends what kind of team you have, and I think the Lightning, as we heard from Luella Tomlinson, just itching to get back on the floor. And when you give up a game like they did last night, they were disappointing to start with. As we have a look, Carly Ernst and Levy, they were always going to be the 2 leading point scorers, but the Lightning weren't happy with the way they played, and that's kind of the best scenario is, okay, we get to try and fix that tomorrow night. We don't have to wait 4 or 5 days. We get another chance to go at it, and that's exactly what they've done here. Got off to a slow start. Could have been the legs there, but once they got going, this is the team that we're accustomed to seeing early in the season.
Stay on her right hand. I mean, we dig it if she goes to dribble, but make sure you know where shooters are on the outside, okay? Carry your hands there. Swing again, so I want Carly in the 5 spot, so she ends up getting in the gets. If we've got you coming off, that's great. If you haven't got it, she can turn and look. You're the other one inside to step in and seal. Make sure we space out here, guys, and see what's there. If there's something late, you put it to the deck, but try to get some kick-outs out of that, all right? Okay, here we go.
3 on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Spirit.
So Luella Tomlinson, 1 of 2 earlier tonight at the line. That's the total foul shots, so 18 attempts to 4. The made foul shots, there's 9 in the differential there. Now 10. I don't need to point out the differential on the bottom of your screen on the ticker. 63 to 55, Adelaide lead it. Oh, loose pass through the hands of Pelvast. Whittle comes up with it, down the floor, laying for Steph Talbot, makes it a 12-point game.
That is an outstanding pass by Marina Whittle, just turning on a dime, little hook baseball pass, and Steph Talbot just the awareness to turn the jets on and just get out there in open floor. And as we said, no one's catching her. She's going to be making that one.
I was thinking Patrick Mahomes territory over the shoulder. The shot goes up from Pelvas, doesn't go.
Well, it was just a really smart play, and it came with that. The defense, yeah, it was an unforced error from the Spirit, but that's just built up over time, the frustration, because the physicality's been there, the energy's been there from the Lightning. Those things happen. You're not going to get a steal or a stop every single time. You just build up this pressure that eventually the Spirit have started to feel.
Halfway through the final turn. Full court pressure from the Spirit. Another game which looks like it's fading from their grasp. Another one they led at half-time. 10-point game. Wilson, catch and shoot. No good. Frolling up, grabs the rebound. 12-point game, of course, the margin. 65 to 53. Levy lays it up. Back to 10. 17 points for Tessa Levy. Behind only Carly Ernst is the game-high leader. Whittle wrestles it from Pelvas. Bounce pass to Talbot underneath the basket. Ernst blocks the shot, no call. Here's Levy. Ernst up top, back to Levy, down to Ernst. Combines with the other star out there for the Bendigo Spirit. Levy's going to have to go herself off the dribble. Passes out late. Todd Hunter, catch and shoot. Doesn't quite connect. So floats through the air on the 3-ball.
Just a day and night from the Lightning. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's been the inconsistencies which have cost them in games. And these last 2.5 quarters, they've just been an outstanding defensive team in the physicality. And I have to point out Marina Whittle there on Ernst. Just kept a body on her the whole time, and it forced that long 3-ball. And all of a sudden you got a chance to extend your lead here.
Marina Whittle with another basket. 26 years of age. She's about to call her a vet. She's done stuff like this in the league for such a long period of time now and come up with big baskets late, so pushes it back to 12 points. Another stop for Adelaide. Wilson down low to Whittle, out to the corner, extra pass. There's Weirung. Catches the front of the rim and over the backboard. 3 minutes to go.
The Lightning have had really three different contributors in different quarters who have really stood up. I think in the second quarter, Chelsea Brooke just got in the right spot. She kind of got them back in it with some really smart plays. Steph Talbot, MVP candidate, did it in the third. And these first 7 minutes, Marina Whittle's been the one. Her defense on Carly Ernst, her physicality has been outstanding. And on the other end, just chipping in every now and then with nice assists and a couple buckets here and there. But her defense is what's really helped lift, and it's been someone new each quarter, which we haven't seen from the Lightning. We know it was going to be Alex Wilson. We know it's going to be Steph Talbot, but it's been a real team effort this game to be up by 12.
Three minutes to play. Adelaide 67, Bendigo 55. Path ahead for the Lightning, Pete, so 2 games to come. Got travel involved though this week, so they play Townsville Friday night in Cairns and then back to Townsville to play Sydney. If that makes sense on the Sunday. Here's Tracy York.
Hey, we need to high-low. We've got to get that ball moving through hands. So you two will work inside, you guys are outside. If I have to dribble, push someone, I will, but the ball's going to go in and out and attack. We've got to get on the O-glass. Here it's 22 to 23 every time. You've got to protect the keyway in there, guys. Here we go.
Bendigo, 1 game to come. They play Melbourne Friday night in Cairns.
Well, it's when you've got no pressure on you and you're going there, and if they happen to lose this game, they still want to end the season on a good note. And what better way to do it than potentially having a massive say with how the ladder ends up? And as you said, if the Flyers lose that game on Sunday, it could be a 3-way tie, but that's only if the Boomers take care of business against the Spirits. So there's still plenty to play for.
The Adelaide-Townsville game becomes interesting again, just when we thought that the door was shut in the makeup of the playoffs. Still a mathematical chance. Adelaide, everything would have to go their way as Ernst with another basket continues to pad her stats, so 32 and 15. Big night on the back of 17 and 7 of the opening quarter. 10-point game, 2.5 to play. Foul caught on Froling.
Great offensive set down there by the Bendigo Spirit. Exactly what coach drew up. She wanted the ball inside, outside, and Carly Ernst got it right where she wanted, but it's Froling just being a little physical with Talbot. That can go either way. You can either get that called or it can be left.
And it comes. Wilson to Tomlinson, back to Wilson to try and close the show. Misfires on the 3. Skinner on the rebound for Bendigo. Got to make something happen down the floor. The Spirit away to Price. Price puts the shot up, doesn't get the shooter's roll, and Talbot comes away with it. Price does well to get back, stops her path to the basket. Here's Weirung. 10-point game. Tomlinson down low. Whittle. Mismatch on Levy. Tries to take it all the way up. Can't finish. 2 minutes to play. 4-possession game. Levy to Ernst. Ernst takes it up, a little too hard off the backboard, ends up over the baseline. Spirit ball. Ernst waiting for something to happen. Shoots the turnaround jump, but doesn't go. It's not what Tracy York would have wanted. The team still in it with 2 minutes to play. 10-point game. Tomlinson up top to Whittle. To the hands of Weirung, and then Wilson back to Weirung. Out wide for Talbot, foot on the sideline. Timeout call.
Yeah, Tracy York just wants a little settler here. Make sure they get a score, get a good possession, because their last 2 down the floor was a bit unorganised, and you saw what happened after that last timeout. Tracy York drew something up and they executed perfectly, but Adelaide Lightning right now, the destiny in this game is in their own hands. They've got to just keep their defense solid. If the Spirit score, it's okay. Don't get rattled. This is when you can slow it down, try and get the ball through hands, take a late shot clock attempt, because you don't want to give them more possessions than they need.
Talking about it tomorrow, I'm sure if Bendigo can come back and win from here, we saw that opening quarter again. They started like they've been shot out of a cannon. Just haven't been able to land that three-point shot the same way they did in the opening quarter. Make it an interesting game if they get a quick three here out of the timeout. Here's Tracy York. We can't listen in last 2 minutes of the game clock, so coach of the Bendigo Spirit. It'll be fascinating to see how they front up next year, though. I think they're the team probably most impacted by the COVID crisis. Obviously, Victoria hurt their stadium model, owned by the stadium, and their ownership structure. Weren't able to bring imports across. Harder to attract local players to a regional market. They have a magnificent stadium. I was lucky enough to go down to Bendigo last year for the boxing. Jeff Horn and Michael Zarafa at the new Bendigo Stadium. And tell you what, that's an attraction enough. That's a place that you want to go and play.
Oh, it is. It is just a terrific facility, and the basketball game in there is awesome. It's just a great atmosphere to be a part of.
10-point game here. Minute 23 on the clock. Adelaide looking to snap a 5-game losing sequence. Oh, Talbot steals it from Wavy on the inbounds. That won't help the Spirit scores. Froling called for the foul.
Just leaders doing what leaders can do, and just she's made the right plays at the right time. Her energy's been there, just her leadership and physicality more so than anything has been a real point of difference tonight. And yeah, Carly Ernst got off in that first quarter, but then Steph Talbot managed to, with help from others, trying to set a tone. And I think her and Whittle defensively taking on that challenge with Carly Ernst has made it a longer night than it could have been after the first quarter. She has still got 32 and 15, but she's had to work for a lot of those after quarter time.
This is another foul shot. Froling pulls down the rebound. Great point. We'll talk more about Steph, I'm sure, in the wash-up. Price with the loose handle. Ernst wants to get outside the three-point line. Lady is going to have to put one up here. Gives it away to Froling. Back down to Ernst, trying to back her way in. Off the window. Froling got hands to it. Lobs it back in. 9-point game. Final minute. There's no urgency as far as Adelaide's concerned. Protecting a 9-point lead. Weerung to Talbot as the board is about to light up. Coming in with a strong rebound, Marina Whittle. She's done some good things as well. They've had such a solid spread. Talbot's going to be their leading scorer again with 15. Tomlinson shoots at another O-board.
Oh, Whittle's been outstanding tonight. Her defense had a couple buckets and then just a few O-boards. Back into the starting lineup. She's been in and out over the last few games, which is normally pretty frustrating as a player, but it hasn't phased her. She's come in and been a real point of difference tonight. Has 10 and 4, but it's just been the way she's gone about it. And I think her defense has been something that's really set the tone. Tracy York be frustrated because they got off to such a good start, but you've got to give a lot of credit to the Lightning. They changed it at quarter time and they sustained it, which we haven't seen so far.
Glad you pointed out Steph Talbot. It just wasn't happening for her at halftime. Only 3 points in the first half. She ends up being the team leader with 15. 6 boards, 3 assists. 3 steals to go along with that. She's ranked top 3 in the league in that category. They've done it the hard way tonight. Adelaide, it wasn't as pretty as we've seen them in the past, but they turn around a halftime deficit to come back and snap a 5-game losing sequence in the process. So the Lightning keep the Spirit winless. Adelaide 69, Bendigo 59. It's the Lightning who get home by 10. They get it done by committee.
Exactly right. 5 players in double figures, really just shared the ball, and we spoke about Steph Talbot leading the team in scoring, but that became with their defense. Their defense got stops, which allows her to be at her best and get out and run. So all smiles from the Lightning. They've earned that over the last couple of games because they've shown flashes. They just haven't put it together, and still wasn't a whole game. They got off to a slow start, but for 3 quarters, they were by far the better team.
So look at the spread of scoring. Wilson, Talbot, Brook, Weerung and Whittle all in double digits. Well, the gaudy numbers really on the other side of the stat sheet. A fantastic night for Carly Ernst, particularly in the first half, and Tessa Levy was awesome the whole way through. Ernst finishes with the numbers of 32 and 15 for Tessa Levy, 17 points and 6 assists. But the Adelaide Lightning, still a chance mathematically to make it through to the playoffs. Boy, they need a whole heap to go right for them from here. They win by 10 points to make it 5-6 on their season record. Bendigo's record worsening to 0-12. They have Melbourne next in Cairns on Friday night. Meanwhile, for the Adelaide Lightning, we'll talk more about this in a moment, but they snap a 5-game losing streak. They have games against Townsville on Friday night and Sydney on Sunday. They'll start an underdog up against Townsville, that's for sure. The Fire coming off a victory against the Caps. But there is a path through to them for the playoffs where they would need a few things to fall their way.
Well, yeah, they only play each other once, which is going to be huge. There's no chance for a split or anything, but it's a crazy season, and it's 2020, so you can never say never. And I think the Lightning will just be happy that they put together a more consistent performance tonight. And now, what can they do? Can they go in there and give Townsville something to think about? And then, yeah, right now you have to let a lot else go your way, but that starts with, first and foremost, keep getting wins.
Abigail Weerung is ready to chat to us courtside. Abby, congratulations. A second half fight back and the girls get home by 10 points. Put it into your words. How did you do it tonight?
I mean, we didn't start well. I think we found some energy and we grinded it out, and, you know, we had to do that. It's good to get the W, and, yeah, obviously not the way we want to start, but good to get the W.
Well, you've shown flashes in the previous games of how you can be really good and then, as you said, come off to a poor start, these different things. What was Chris Lucas's message at quarter time? Because it seemed that after that, everything just switched on and you guys were awesome for the next 3 quarters.
Yeah, well, Carly was hitting everything. We just had to stop her pretty much. We locked her down and that was the difference. We found some energy and, yeah, I mean, we've been working on consistent 40 minutes and we still didn't have that tonight, but it was better.
Can you talk us through your season so far, Abby? I feel like you've been one of the breakout players for the Adelaide Lightning in what you've been able to do. How would you sum up the season that you've had in North Queensland?
I mean, I'm just enjoying playing with this group of people and under these coaches, Chris and Nadia, awesome, and I just feel like I'm able to play, so I'm really enjoying it.
Well, not only do you get to play alongside some terrific players, obviously Steph Talbot, an MVP candidate, but I'm glad you mentioned Nat Hirsch. She used to give me individuals growing up. What's it like learning from one of the best out there? She was an absolute gun.
She's the best. I mean, I was fortunate enough to play with her at the Caps and then in Bendigo as well. So to play under her now as a coach, I mean, I wish she was still playing, but yeah. She has so much knowledge and she gives so much to us as a coach now. It's just amazing.
Steph Talbot's night tonight, Abby, felt like she played a very different role for the team in terms of it wasn't a sort of usual high output numbers, but she was able to get the team going tonight, and she's so often the engine that makes this Adelaide Lightning team go.
Yeah, absolutely. Talbs is a beast. She brings it. Even if she's not scoring, she locks people down, she gets after the board, she plays just with so much heart, and it's nice to be alongside her.
Now, do you know the passage through to the playoffs from here? What has to happen mathematically for the team to make it in your last 2 games?
Yeah, we've got to win. We've got to win both and hope Townsville drops to Melbourne, and obviously we've got to beat Townsville, so we'll be pretty pumped to get after them.
How do you do that? I guess the game against the Fire, what do you have to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't played them yet this season. Obviously, Loz Nicholson and Charlotte Hill are running that team and are being pretty dominant, so we've got to lock them down. But, yeah, they've got a really solid team.
It's all in your court. Good luck on Friday night and across the weekend. Fingers crossed we're watching the Adelaide Lightning for a little longer in the 41st edition of the WNBL. Well done tonight.
Thanks so much.
Abby Weirung, one of a number of contributors for Adelaide tonight. In the end, Pete, they have 5 players who reached double figures. She was one of them. They come back after trailing at half-time to win it by 10.
Yeah, they were outstanding, and she's had a great season, but all starters were the ones hitting double figures, and no real one major score or one impact. They just shared the ball, and everyone stood up at different times when they needed it, and it looked like they enjoyed that. And obviously still led by Steph Talbot in the way she played her defence, physicality and leadership, but everyone else chipped in when they needed to. I thought Marina Whittle's game was outstanding tonight, and I hope that they can break down that film and show all the good pieces she did. But when the game was there to be won, big plays were made by their big players, and that's what they've got to do.
Alex Wilson as well, as so often in the first part of the season when we're looking at Adelaide victories, we were talking about Talbot and Wilson, that they were the two. It was Talbot and her crime partner that were able to get the team home. But a nice spread tonight. You commented during the call about Chelsea Brook and Marina Whittle. They all reached double figures tonight, as did Abby Weirung. They're the numbers, Pete. I've been banging on about the foul shots all night. So it finishes 24-4. But the made foul shots, the differential's 13, and the game's decided by 10 points.
Well, it is, and they still gave up 16 O-boards, but they weren't punished too much on those, because in other games they gave up a lot of O-boards and then had to try and get another stop, and they couldn't do it. They could manage to put back-to-back stops together in their same possession, which is tiring and hard to do, especially on the second night of a back-to-back. So that's a massive thing for them in mentality going into a game against Townsville, where you know how potent they are offensively, and those two guards of Lauren Nicholson and Charlotte Hill are going to be coming non-stop. So hopefully that gives them a really good positive impact to be able to go in there and make a game of it.
There's nothing better as broadcasters than when we get the chance to put the ladder up and then forecast our way through the season and try and work out what's going to happen next. I want to point this out to you, Adelaide Lightning fans. You heard it from Abby Weirung a short time ago. So, Pete, there's 2 games to go for the Adelaide Lightning. They play Townsville on Friday night in Cairns, and then the bus trip to Townsville to play Sydney on Sunday. So they play a team around their station, Townsville just above them, Sydney just below them. They'll start favourites in one game and they'll start underdogs against the Fire. But if they beat Townsville and Townsville lose their remaining game to the Melbourne Boomers, who are a side above them, both Adelaide and Townsville will end on 7 wins and 6 losses. So they'll have identical records. And what happens in that scenario, as we know, it comes down to the season split, which will essentially mean the Friday night will be winner take all if the scenario unfolds that way. Of course, we needed a number of things to fall into place, including obviously Adelaide winning both their games and Townsville losing both their games.
It would actually turn out to be a really ironic whole season for the Lightning, because the quarantine kind of got them off track, and they blame a lot of what happened on the quarantine. But quarantine changed the schedule, which means, as you're right, they play each other once.
Yeah.
So if it came that way, it'd be just a perfect full circle for them. But basketball, especially in a hub season like this, is so mental. So now Townsville Fire won't be thinking about that. They'll be thinking about really contending for this championship. But now that seed's planted, they know that they've got to win that game. Because if they don't win that game, they have to beat the Boomers. So that seed's planted in the Townsville Fire. And the Lightning, on the other hand, now they're feeling good about themselves. So the rest of this game, every single game has a massive impact on how this ladder turns out.
So double header tomorrow night starts with Lynx Caps. Caps have been a little bit off recently. They've lost 2 of their last 3, and Perth nearly beat them last time they played. That game only decided by 3 points. And then the second leg of that is Flames Flyers. So that's tomorrow night, those games being played in Townsville. And then back to Farewell Cairns on Friday night. The Boomers and the Spirit. So that's Bendigo's last game of the year, trying to avoid a winless season. And then there's that late game Friday night, the Fire and the Lightning, albeit that the Fire will start favourites in that game, but obviously have to take care of business there. And then this is the last day of the regular season, Pete, so some interesting matchups here to decide not just who the final 4 teams will be, but the makeup as well, and obviously the top 2 get the double chance.
Yeah, nothing's set, and that's the beauty of a season like this, a compacted hub season, that nothing is set right now. Normally, a week out, someone's going to finish first, someone's going to finish second. We don't know any of that, and there's so much to play out. And if you're one of these top teams, you can't go into any other game thinking, oh, we're playing Bendigo or we're playing Perth, Sydney. Because you can get beat on any night. If you have an off night shooting, foul trouble, you can get beaten. Every game is so important right now.
Good fun as always, Pete.
Mate, it was a good one. It was a cracking. As an Adelaide boy, I'm glad they're back on the right track.
They came from behind to get it done. The Adelaide Lightning, they keep their season ticking ever so slightly to beat the Bendigo Spirit. On behalf of Pete Hooley, I'm Corbin Middlemass, and of course our wonderful crew signing off tonight from the Cairns Pop-Up Arena. Victory for Adelaide. They get home by 10.